I went into the JMP software and I went to analysis and hit distribution. And then I have a variable in this data set called before or after, and I basically just put a B if it was before legalization and an A if it was after legalization. And then I mapped it by the offense category ID. So I don't want to run this again just in case it decides to go crazy again. Alright, so here we have after, and these are basically just histograms with the number of hit and run accidents, the number of DUI, traffic accidents, etc. And it gives you a table of the counts here. So if you look at this, let's just look at traffic accidents. After legalization, there's 2,800 or almost 2,900 traffic accidents. If you look before, there was only 1,300. So that seems kind of like, well, maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's more traffic accidents after legalization. Can you think of another reason why there might be more traffic accidents? Yep, exactly. There was a huge population increase in the Denver area in the last year. Over 100,000 people moved, including me. I came from Chicago, and every time I see an Illinois license plate here, I get irrationally angry now. I was like, I moved away from Chicago to get away from you people. But anyway, so that, yeah. So just looking at these graphs and these tables, it looks like, okay, maybe there might be something to this. But since we don't have any statistical power behind this, then we can't really say for sure. So then we have to move on to actually doing a statistical analysis of the data. So to do that, you have to determine what types of tests are appropriate. And I'm not going to go into a lot about the details of that right now. I just want to show you how the software works. But for this data, since we're kind of comparing two different categorical data types, so we want to know about whether or not it was before or after legalization. We want to know about offense types. I'm going to go into Analyze and fit X by Y, and then put before and after as the X, and then do offense type ID as the Y, and hit OK. So this is basically just a table. In this column, it's after. In this column, it's before. And each of these slices say whether it was a traffic accident, hit and run, traffic accident, etc. So have you guys talked about p-values yet?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yep, probability. So this contingency table is basically just a numerical representation of what's up here in this graph. And it shows you, like, after marijuana, there is this many traffic assaults. And that's the count. This is the total percent. And I don't know what call percent and row percent are. Oh well. But if we look down here to the statistical test, it gives you the p-value right here. And do these look like significant p-values to you? Like, what's the usual cutoff for a p-value? 0.05. Yep. So these are above 0.05. So there's not an actual statistical difference between before and after as far as traffic accidents go.
But I would say, because I'm kind of down on the p-value, there is a trend, there is a difference.
Yeah.
It's not, in the traditional statistical sense, but there is definitely probably a trend there.
Yeah, definitely. And you kind of moved me on to my next slide, which is good. So the next step is to interpret your results. So my interpretation of the results was that the p-value is 0.05, so there's not a statistical difference. But then Dr. Edwards made a very good point that there is a trend that these things are increasing. Whether it's due to legalization or it's due to the population increase and traffic patterns and stuff like that, there's a lot of other things that have changed between now and then. Alright, so the last thing that I want to show you is how to share your results. And this is one of the big advantages of JMP over something like Excel. Oops. So I did all this analysis and made all these graphs. You go to File and hit Save Session Script. I'm going to save it. And I'm going to save it in the same file, the same folder as the data. So let's say my computer crashes or I just close it. I'm going to say no to this. Where's session script? This only works if you can remember where you put your session script. Hmm. But anyway, huh? Where? I get kind of nervous when like people are watching me. Maybe it was just on the desktop. Here, I have another one that I think I've trashed. Yeah. But it's in the trash, so it's like, no, maybe not. Okay. I need to tell it to stop popping up these tutorials. So this is the session script, and these are basically just the coding instructions for everything that I did during that session. And you can click Run Script, and it repeats everything that I did in that session. So if you had a buddy that was really interested in your analysis, all you would have to do is give them the raw data in that script, and they would be able to immediately replicate everything that you did. And that's huge. And that's like one of the major plus points for doing coding when you're doing data analysis, because you can save your scripts and send it, but there are point-and-click software packages like Jump that will still do the coding for you in the background. So it's a really powerful tool. All right, and I think that's all for me. If you guys have any questions, let me know.